everyone, it's Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am back in my MakseLife quarterly companion notebooks, and we are going to be wrapping up the month of June, wrapping up the second quarter, and setting up my goals for the month of July. I'm really excited to dig into this. It is a little bit later, a little bit closer to the end of the month than I usually do this, so I would really like to power through and get this done, and so that I can get ready to go all in on July. I'm really looking forward to this month, and I'm just feeling really excited about some goal setting stuff. We are in the back half of this year. That's very exciting. I'm excited to take the quarterly assessment again and just see where things stand. So I have a bunch of things on my desk. This is going to be, except for the intro, a full voiceover video. I am going to move through all of the various process steps, and we'll kind of explain what I'm doing and also talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life, try and do a combo of the both. But so I have my Q2 companion notebook out here, and the first thing we're gonna do, I will leave timestamps in the description below if you wanna skip around at all. But so the first thing I'm gonna do is my June reflections. From there, we're gonna go right into the quarterly reflections, as well as another quarterly goals refresh. So I'll be going back through my annual goals for the end of Q2 with the assistance of some extra questions and printables that MakseLife made available on their website. All of these printables are 100% free. You just do have to give them an email address, and then you can just access their free printable library, and it's really, really amazing. And that includes like a lot of their goal setting templates and stuff like that. So it's really cool if you want to try it out. I did print off a new compass assessment. The color on this is a little bit weird. My printer is running low on ink, but I just need this as like a rough draft to transfer it into my book. And I also printed off the questions as well. But again, I'm gonna work in my actual companion notebooks. I just wanted all of the prompts ready. Then after we get through all of the wrap up, assessment, refresh, that kind of stuff, I will go ahead and set my goals up for the month of July. So I will be starting in a new companion notebook. Super excited, third companion notebook. That will be this green one here that says Dare to Dream. So we will grab that in just a little while, and that's pretty much what's going on. Again, I will link everything with timestamps down below in case you want to just see a certain part, but I am going to dig in starting with the June reflections. So the first thing I did was actually just read over my June goals just to make sure they were super fresh in my mind. I had obviously already been thinking a lot about July at this point, so I wanted to make sure I had everything like super, super fresh in my mind while I was thinking about it. This was an incredibly busy month, like very, very busy. And also at the beginning of this month, we were still in the full swing of the school year. Things were still going like that way. And then by the end of this month, camp had started. And we had like a week off in between camp and school. So this month really feels like 3 years condensed into 1 month, and I just couldn't even remember what had happened at the beginning of the month. So I needed a little refresher. My biggest wins this month are we had a preschool graduation party that we hosted at our house, like on behalf of the class, and it went super, super well, and it was really fun. And it was just, I don't know, I love hosting, and that was just a really great reminder how much I love hosting and that we should try and do more things like that. And it was just a really fun time. And then I actually had a really successful month at work as well. It was supposed to be a really quiet month. It was not, but it was really, really successful. And now in July, hopefully I should have a quieter month. So I was just, marking that as one of my wins. There are some things that are going really, really well right now, but I am starting to feel a little bit stressed. There was a lot of work stuff going on this month and a lot of kid stuff going on this month. And I just was really feeling like I needed a break at the end of the month, which is why I've set my focus area for next month to just be refresh and relax. I just needed a little bit of a break, and I gave myself a 7 overall for the month. So if you want to see pictures of anything, definitely check me out on Instagram. If you want to know like every single word I wrote, that will be available over there. But I want to keep this moving kind of quick and also highlight the process. Speaking of which, what I'm doing now is the quarterly assessment. So I'm retaking the big assessment scoring thing at the beginning of the year. You do this once a quarter. I personally like to look at my scores from last time and earlier in the year while I do this, and I sometimes do adjust what I'm thinking right now based on that, because I think if depending on your mood, you may answer things differently. And I like mine to feel like they're consistent over time. Now, there's no actual way to ensure that because this is totally subjective, but I feel like if I say, oh, in April I gave myself a 7 and I feel better about how things were in April than I do now. I want to make sure I'm not giving myself an 8 and I'm giving myself a 6 this time. So I just like to keep that in mind while I'm going through. That being said, I actually did go up in score in every single category, even if it was just a little bit this quarter. And that feels super, super amazing. I'm really, really happy with my progress this year. Did have a couple of specific questions where I went down from last time, but the overall averages went up in every single category. So I have some things that I want to focus on for the next quarter, for the next month from the individual questions. But in general, I feel like my scores are trending up over time, and I feel like I have done a lot of work. And I do think that this is work, but I feel like the MakseLife system has brought so much focus to my goal setting and to my keeping my long-term, I like to say it keeps my long-term plans and dreams connected to my day-to-day life, and that has just been really, really amazing, and I just cannot speak highly enough about this system. So now I'm just filling in the questions, and one thing from my writing that I do just want to highlight here that has been a mind shift that has been tremendously helpful in the last quarter, and I just wrote in that first question, focus on what I can control and not what's going on around me. And I think that that applies both to the broader world. There's obviously been just an absolutely abysmal news cycle. It seems like for a while, and that can really get you down. And I do not want that to get me down in my day-to-day life. I still need to keep going. So I think just shifting that focus onto the things that I have control over has been tremendously helpful. But that's also really helpful in personal life. I cannot control every one of my kids' behaviors. I cannot control what other people in my family are doing, like wider family, friends, whatever's going on. And so instead trying to reframe this in like a, is there a way I can fix something that's going to help me feel better about this? And if not, let's just put this aside and work on something that I can work on. And I do think that that's been tremendously helpful to like overall how I'm feeling about this. And just mentally, it's been like a huge relief for me. And I really am very appreciative for that mindset right now. So I'm going to continue to keep focusing on that going forward just because it's been so helpful. So now I'm working on my mid-year reflections. MakseLife posted a bunch of prompts to answer at the mid-year, and I printed them out so that I could see them, but I decided to put them in the notes pages in the back. I really like having these extra notes pages in the back of the companion notebooks, and they are dot grid, which helps me line everything up. So I am just going to answer all of them on this like double page spread. I started with the wins, and I decided what I wanted to do was highlight one win from the past 6 months, at least one win from the past 6 months in every single category. So I have actually 2 for most of the categories, and then 1 in a couple of the categories, and just picking something even from some of the areas that I don't consider my main focus for this year or anything like that. It was really nice to just look back and reflect on wins in each of the categories. And I did have something that immediately jumped to mind in every single one of the categories. And I think that's really cool as well. So if you are doing wins, I think that's a great way to do them. It just made me feel really good about all the areas of my life, and also just like think about certain areas and the accomplishments I've made in those areas that aren't my primary focus. So that was my favorite of these questions for sure. And it was the one that I sort of, well, it didn't take me the longest to do, but I feel like I put the most, positive energy into, if you will. The other questions, some of them I liked, some of them I felt like it was a little bit repetitive to some of the other things that I was already doing. But that being said, I don't think that this was intended to be done like all in one sitting with your monthly reflections, quarterly reflections. So I just bucketed them all together and did them all together. So there was definitely some repetition between this stuff, but I love how much free printables and how much free stuff MakseLife puts out there. I think that that's like a really great thing. It's a system that honestly you could probably do without even buying anything, because they put so much stuff in the free printable libraries. And I think that that's really cool. And it makes it, a company that I really love to support. Though I definitely recommend buying the quarterly companion notebooks specifically if that fits into your budget. I just love these so much, and I love the way that they fit in with my broader planning system. So now you're going to start to see my handwriting get like extremely more sloppy as I finished this up. Just was so tired from writing. My hand was like cramping up, and I still have more writing to do after this, because right after this, I'm going to go right into my Q2 goals refresh or inventory. And then I still have to write my July goals on top of that. Although I did take like a short break in between my July goals and all of the reflections, I was just like, I couldn't write anymore. So I did try and fit the rest of the questions in on the page. I just didn't feel like I needed any more space than that, because I had already felt like I had spent so much time reflecting. Plus, I really like it as like a one double page spread. So now I'm going into the goals refresh. I did this at the end of Q1 as well. Basically, I just went back through all of my annual goals. I read them like really carefully and more than once, and then just made some notes about them. Basically, is anything changing? Do I want to let anything go or make any adjustments? And a lot of it, this time I didn't have anything that I was specifically letting go. In Q1, I did have a couple of things that I just decided were not working or needed like a total reframe. This time I didn't have that, but I did have some things where it's just like a shift in how I want to think about something, or like what counts as something, quote unquote. Like, one of my goals for the year was to focus on like spend more time focusing on creative projects. And when I wrote that, I was thinking more about like painting and lettering and things like that. And I just haven't had a lot of time and energy for that lately. But I have had a lot of creative things happening in other spaces, in stickering and planner stuff, and also in my work. I've been writing a lot more this year, and even though it's a more technical style of writing, it feels creative, and I don't feel like I'm really craving that painting or lettering time right now, and it's not something I want to spend my time on, and that's totally fine. So it's just kind of like reframing what a creative project is. So I think that that's fine to do throughout the year. It makes me feel more connected to my goals. When you write this at the beginning of the year, you don't know what's going to be working for you 6 months from now. And right now, this is what's working for me. And that is, going back to your goals and just deciding that is totally valid. So that is what I did. I had other ones that were like that, though that was definitely the biggest like mental reframe of one of my goals, and that was in the personal category. Then at the bottom here, just adding in like a little statement to fill up the rest of this page. I did that in Q1 as well, and for this one, I'm just putting refresh and start fresh. I mean, honestly, I've had a really successful quarter and a really great month, but I am just tired. It was an intense couple of months, especially with some work stuff going on, and I just need a little bit of a break. And I work freelance, so I have the ability to give myself that break, although it is very difficult to say no sometimes. So I am just really trying in July to focus on rest and recharge, and then I will get back at it after I take a little bit of a break. So now I am getting into my July goals. And here I have some stickers from Planner Kate. These are these transparent dots. I just noticed that I don't really usually check things off in my monthly goals. I look at this every week when I set up my weekly action items, but I don't really check things off. So I started using these like a couple months ago. I really like them, and they're really fun. So I am going with a word of the month for focus or for every category, and then just putting things in. I usually highlight things that are like a little bit more either habits or less concrete things, and then put dots at ones that are a little bit more concrete, like you can check them off. Although I did use the small dots to do some of the routines up in my personal category as well. So I've been trying like little variations on kind of the same things. So this is just working really well. It doesn't look really fancy or anything like that, but it's really, really useful. And honestly, nothing in here looks all that fancy in my companion notebooks, but this helps me just organize all of my thoughts for the month, for the week ahead. I love doing the weekly action items, like breaking down things from the goals, assigning it to the week ahead, and then I can take it and make it look really decorative and fancy. And I can do that in my functional planner, where I do like a lot of stickers and washi and decorations and all that kind of stuff. So this is just like a more straightforward list to help me kind of get all my ideas together before I put it in like that decorative format. But then I already know what needs to go into that, and I have like more creative space to sort of think about how I want it to look in there, if that makes sense. So let me know in the comments if you use MakseLife, and if you do, what your focus area is going to be for the month of July. Okay, so I have a whole mess of papers on my desk, and that was a ton of writing, but my goals are set for the month. Feeling really good about this month and about how the year is going in general. So here I have my little flip through of everything we did. So I did my June reflections, was a really good month. My quarterly assessment, I think things are going really, really well this year. I'm just really feeling like super in tune with everything and just like overall just very happy with how things have been going. But always things to work on, which is one of the things I love about this. Things can be going great, but you can still keep building, which is what I'm gonna try and do. I had a lot of fun with these mid-year reflections, and then I did my same refresh as I did last time, which I found it's like a really great way to reconnect with your annual goals, because it's easy to kind of like put those aside as you focus on the month to month and the day to day. So it's really great to check back in with what you were thinking at the beginning of the year and see like how things have changed and how they've shifted and how they've stayed the same, what you're working towards and building towards. And then of course I do have my July goals. So that is going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well at MyCraftyPlans to keep up with everything going on in all my planners. Bye.